Do you wait for everything to be perfect and lined up straight before you make a choice? How hard are you trying to get everything in your life right? What if jumping in and getting messy is one of the ways to find out what works for you? Discover how being willing to mess up can create the phenomenal life you truly desire. Get ready to quit judging and start embracing all of your messy adventures. Now, here's your host, self-declared messy living expert, Petrina Fava.
Hello, welcome to Messy Adventures in Living. I'm your host, Petrina Fava. Thank you for being here. I'm not sure if you can hear an echo or not, but I can, and it's actually my house. Because I purged like crazy over the last week, and now there's space in my living room. It's awesome. Anyway, so thank you for joining me today on Messy Adventures in Living. I'm happy to have you here. I'm Petrina Fava, your host. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the show today because I'm really excited about the topic that we're talking about. And the topic for today is paying for ease. Are you willing to pay for ease? Or have you decided that you would rather keep your money and suffer a little to get the same result at a cheaper price? Are you a do-it-yourselfer? And we're not just talking about renovations. Do you refuse to let anyone else do work for you because you figure you can do it yourself and keep your money? So what really is the energy that this is creating? What is it actually creating in your life? What is having this point of view creating in your life when you're unwilling to pay to have ease? Do you actually value ease? Or is it at the bottom of your pile? I'm so excited because, of course, this has nothing to do with me. So I'm Petrina Fava, your host. Let me tell you a little bit about me and a little bit about Messy Adventures in Living. Messy Adventures in Living is an hour where you get invited to drop perfect and to drop having everything lined up straight and to drop knowing all the steps you're going to take to get somewhere. Messy Adventures in Living is really about just choosing and seeing what that choice creates, and then choosing again, and then seeing what that choice creates, and then gaining awareness or learning or getting to know yourself, getting to know your life, getting to know what works for you by choosing. So often we do it the other way around. We try to gather all the information. We try to make sure we have all the right information before we make a choice so that we make the right choice. And this sucks. It has sucked for me. It feels so constipated. It feels so tight. It feels so contracted when you're like trying so hard to get everything right and making sure you have all the information so that you make the right choice, the right decision, take the right step. It's so much more fun to just choose and then see what shows up and then choose again if you don't like it, or choose something different, or choose the same thing if you like it, or whatever. It's so much more fun to just jump in and get messy and allow yourself to be messy instead of trying so hard to be tight and straight and perfect and get it right. So that's what you get invited to. An invitation to get messy and to drop getting it right and create your life, the phenomenal life that you know is possible. And so I'm Petrina. Here's a little bit about me and how I play in the world. I am a mom of 3 kids who every day, literally every minute of every day, inspire and push and nudge. And it is amazing to me how much they know, but not brain knowing, like just knowing without maybe even realizing how much they know, how to push me so that I create greater in my life. I can give you an example of how that happened this weekend. But so I have 3 amazing kids who are so aware. One just turned 13 last week, and my middle daughter is 10, and my little son, my little guy, is 6. They are amazing. I love them. I am also a registered nurse. I have been for almost 20 years now. I work in pediatrics at a hospital in Toronto called Sick Kids. I have had the enormous pleasure, and I'm so grateful that I have met so many families and kids over the last almost 20 years that have inspired me to not be a victim and create my life and be happy no matter what your circumstances are. That is what I get to witness every day. I'm so grateful. And I'm also an Access Consciousness bars and body facilitator. About 7 or 8 years ago now, I discovered this modality called Access Consciousness. It's got some hands-on energetic processes and also offers some tools that you can use to change anything that's not working in your life or to create something greater. Because it's not always about fixing what's not working, right? Maybe your life is awesome, and that's amazing. And what if it could be greater? So accessconsciousness.com if you would like some more information about that, or you can go to my website, petrinafava.com. I also, by the way, create some very yummy body products, 100% natural body products, lotions, scrubs, bath bombs, all kinds of yummy things. And that product line is called Naturally Happy Body. You can check it out on my website, naturallyhappybody.com. Okay, that's me. Let's get to our topic, shall we? So paying for ease. Now, what is this for you? What comes up for you when we talk about the willingness or the unwillingness to pay for ease? So, what is this for you? Are you unwilling to pay for ease? And if you are, where did this stem? Where did this come from? Where did this start? Can you remember? Do you remember a time where you learned that it was not valuable to have ease? So I'll tell you a little bit about what it has been for me. So I grew up with a mom. So my mom was a single mom. She had to work 2 jobs for a while, and so I learned early on that we had to do as much as possible to save money, right? And so many times that meant that we had to do things ourselves instead of pay someone else to do something for us. And I started to learn that it was okay to suffer a little bit if it meant we could save money. And I'm not, it's not necessarily that I was told this with words. So if you're listening, I'm not, this is how I interpret it. And, I've started to really realize that so often we look at our upbringing and we look at our childhood and we look at our parents and it's so easy to blame our upbringing. And I'm starting to really understand that I am responsible for how I have interpreted my childhood, My mom did what she knew how to do, and she did what she thought was best, and she did an amazing job. And any little, sticking points or things that have bugged me about my childhood, really a lot of that is how I've chosen to interpret my life. So no victim playing over here, completely owning that I have chosen to interpret and possibly manipulate things to create crap in my own life. So this is, what was occurring for me in my life. We were tight with money, and so I learned by observation. I saw that sometimes we had to suffer. It was okay to suffer a little bit if it meant we could save money, because we needed to save money to have food, to have shelter. I grew up with a sense of importance to save money. And so I learned quickly that ease was not valuable, or not as valuable as other things, and specifically money. So I learned that ease was not as valuable as money, that money was more valuable than ease, that it was okay to suffer a little bit to save money. So is that familiar? Do you have that going on in your life? So I can already sense the energy coming up. So everywhere you have decided that money is more valuable than ease, would you destroy and uncreate all of that? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, all 9 shorts, boys, and beyond. So that thing that I just said is called the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. It's a collection of words that has a long explanation. You can find that explanation at theclearingstatement.com. It has its own website, That's totally cool. But all you need to know is that it really works on the energetic level. You don't need to understand it in order to work. What happens is a whole bunch of energy comes up. We ask you, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it? And then we say the clearing statement, and it helps to get underneath all the energy and actually destroy everywhere that you bought all of that stuff is true, everywhere it's creating crap in your life. Just that's what it does. And you can find out more at theclearingstatement.com. Okay, so let's do it again. So everywhere you have made money more valuable than ease, everywhere you bought that lie, everywhere you decided that money is more valuable than ease and that it's okay to suffer so that you can save money, would you destroy and create all that? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. So, Ease was at the bottom of my list in life of valuable things. And I started to realize that there was a sense of waiting to be given ease. Like, we would go to church and we would pray for things to be easier, to have an easier life. What is that for you? Like, are you waiting to have ease and are unwilling to pay for it? Who are you waiting for ease to be delivered by? Are you waiting to have ease bestowed on you? Are you waiting to be given ease? There's what is this word bestowed? It almost has like a religious sense or a reward. Ease as a reward. Have you decided that ease is your reward? And so are you unwilling to actually choose it? Pay for it. Choose to have it. There's so much here that comes up around religion for me, like the value of suffering and how we do not value ease or how ease is wrong, right, in our lives. So there's a lot of points of view in our reality about ease being wrong. It's not good to have an easy life. Sacrifice, or just having a peek in the chat room. Money is all about sacrifice, blood, sweat, tears, exactly. We have learned so much that nothing worth having comes easy. Have you heard that before? Nothing in life worth having comes easy. This is such a pervasive point of view in our reality. It really is. And what happens when we buy this as true? So you have to get, on Messy Adventures in Living, I like to really challenge a lot of points of view or ideas or quotes or things that we say that we live by, like this, nothing worth having ever comes easy. And so I like to challenge them. And so I like to challenge them, and I'm not saying that they are wrong. So I'm looking at no right, no wrong. Just really interesting that we have these points of view. And what are these points? What is getting created in our lives when we hold on to these points of view, right? When we live by these sayings, nothing worth having comes easy. This particular quote comes from Theodore Roosevelt. I actually looked it up. And the direct quote from Theodore Roosevelt is, "Nothing in the world is worth having or worth doing unless it means effort, pain, difficulty. I have never in my life envied a human being who led an easy life. I have envied a great many people who led difficult lives and led them well." Wow. Wow. I have never in my life envied a human being who led an easy life. I have envied a great many people who led difficult lives and led them well. So everywhere you bought the idea that suffering is valuable, and that for sure suffering is way more valuable than ease, oh my God. Would you like to give that up, and will you destroy and create it all? All right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So, what the envy of suffering, like being envied by suffering, what is that? I have never in my life envied a human being who led an easy life, but I have envied a great many people who led difficult lives and led them well. So everywhere you're creating a difficult life so that people will envy you because you have a difficult life and you are leading a difficult life well. Everywhere you are creating that suffering in your life. to be the envy of others. Will you destroy and create all that? Ugh. Right, wrong, good and bad, bottom buck, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. Blah. Can you perceive the energy of that? So crazy. Yeah, enough. So it is a very self-defeating attitude. Thank you. So in case you're wondering who I'm talking to, by the way, you can join us in the chat room. So we have an online chat room. You can click on the link at the upper right-hand corner of the page, and you can join us in the chat room. Just pop in your name or any name and come and type in your comments and questions. It's so much fun. So we're actually going to take a break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk more about paying for ease. Are you willing to pay for ease, or have you decided that money, saving money, having money at the expense of your peace, your ease, have you decided that money is more valuable than ease? So we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Messy Adventures in Living on the Inspired Choices Network.
Do you wait until all the traffic lights are green before you get in your car? Of course you don't. Are you waiting until you have everything perfect to begin living? Most of us have learned not to take any steps until we have all the information to make the right choice. What if the opposite is true? What if it's choice that creates awareness? Are you willing to make lots of messy choices so you can begin to see the possibilities that you didn't think existed? Listen for Messy Adventures in Living radio show with self-declared messy living expert Petrina Fava every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 Central, 9 Mountain, and 8 Pacific on the InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. How much more expansive would your life be if you were willing to get messy with your choices?
What if there's nothing wrong with you? What if you're far greater than you've ever given yourself credit for? What if it's time to know the gift and the contribution you are to the world and to like yourself a lot more? Hi, my name is Dane here. 13 years ago I started to truly ask questions. Actually, I started to be the question, and everything changed for me. Asking questions opens doors to infinite possibilities. And it's not about finding the answer, it's about being the question. Always. What I'm inviting you to step into is something that Einstein, Marie Curie, Newton, Da Vinci, Gandhi, Picasso, and Aristotle all knew to be true. What if no question is too big or too small? What if anything is possible for you? What if together we could create a kinder, gentler, happier world? Is now the time? Go to beingyouclass.com and sign up for a free video series, My Gift to You. beingyouclass.com. What if you, truly being you, are the gift and change this world requires? beingyouclass.com.
You're listening to Messy Adventures in Living with Petrina Fava. To participate in today's show, please call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also ask questions or comment by email by sending to Petrina at petrinafava.com. Now, here's Petrina with more Messy Adventures.
Hey, welcome back to Messy Adventures in Living. I'm your host, Petrina Fava. Thank you for being here. If you're just joining us today, we're talking about paying for ease. Paying for ease. Are you willing to pay to have ease in your life? Is ease really the valuable product that you claim it is, or you pretend it to be? You know, how many of us are wishing or wanting, how many of us are asking for ease, or wishing for ease, or desiring ease, or wanting ease, which, by the way, the original meaning of the word want is to lack. You know, how much are you actually wishing for ease while refusing to pay for it? Right? So, you know, it's so funny. I was thinking, like, could you imagine if your ease, so imagine if ease was your child. Okay? Imagine that ease was your child, and you tell your child that you would do anything for it, right? For any of us who are parents, you know, you would do anything for your kid. And you tell your kid, you know what, I would do anything for you. So ease was your child, and you know, if somebody kidnapped it from you, you would go to the ends of the earth to get it back. And then So you tell ease this. Ease is your child, and you tell ease all the time, I would do anything for you. I so much desire having you in my life, ease. I would do anything for you. And then you have the opportunity to have ease, but as soon as you find out how much money you have to spend to have it, you go, oh my God, forget it. Never mind. I would rather have a little bit of suffering because it's cheaper and I need to hold on to my money. So, if ease was your kid, ease would be like, what the hell? You just told me you would do anything for me, and now as soon as you find out how much I cost, you drop me like a hot potato. What the heck? So, what are you creating truly, energetically in your life when you're hoping and wishing and desiring ease, and you say that you want ease and you would love to have your life be more easy, but you're completely unwilling to pay any amount of money for it. Or you want to have, you need to do everything yourself because you're a do-it-yourselfer, and it's okay, you'll drop ease. So everything that is, everywhere you are asking for ease, wishing for ease, desiring ease, and then utterly refusing it and pushing it away, as soon as you find out that you have to spend any money on it, well, you just try and create all that. Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, all 9 shorts, boys, and beyond. Yeah. Oh my goodness. So, I'm just taking a peek in the chat room. There's a couple of things here that I would love to address. So there's just a comment about, what is that? Immigrants. Yes. Okay. So I respect my immigrant parents, but it's a very self-defeating attitude and way of living. Yeah. And, my grandparents immigrated from Italy, and they used to tell me stories all the time about how they left everything behind and they came, in order to have a better life for the future and in order to have a better life for their parents. And so they were willing to drop everything that they had and come to a different country and work hard and start from scratch, and of course, same, I respect them as well, and I'm so grateful that they chose that. But there's something else, like there's a difference between being willing to do anything for money and then believing that you have to suffer to have it. So there's a difference between being willing to do anything for money. Of course, are you really willing to have money? Like, would you be willing to do anything to get money? Would you be willing to sell your body on the street? Would you be willing to work hard in construction for 14 hours a day and have really banged up hands and in order to have money? Are you willing to do anything? And that's cool. But something happens, it's almost like we start off with this attitude that creates, right? So sometimes I notice that we start off with something that creates. So let's use that as an example. The willingness to do absolutely anything to have a greater life, right? I'm thinking of my grandparents. They were so willing to pick up everything they had. My grandmother tells me often how she came from a family that had money, and they had beautiful furniture and a beautiful home, and they had just got married and they had a lavish wedding, and then my grandfather wanted to move to Canada, and she was like, are you crazy? And he saw a possibility for something greater. And so they dropped everything and they left everything behind to come because he saw a greater possibility. And they came and they were willing to do whatever it took to have a greater possibility. And they did. And they created an amazing life. And then something happened, something started to get twisted. And that recognition of a greater possibility started to turn into a point of view that you have to suffer to have what you want, or to suffer to have money, or to suffer to have a house. So the awareness of a greater possibility somewhere started to get twisted into a point of view. How much do we do that? So everywhere, everywhere you have twisted your awareness of a greater possibility, everywhere you started to twist that into a point of view and then close the doors on all the possibilities, because now you're buying a point of view. Everywhere you stopped asking questions about possibilities and started to have a point of view about how that possibility has to get created, will you destroy and uncreate all that? Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, pock, all 9 shorts, boys, beyonds. I'm sorry. I am apologizing for talking way too fast if I am, because sometimes it's just so much that wants to come out and my lips will not move fast enough. Okay, so Yeah. Yeah, so like somewhere this point of view got created. I will just say in my family, like the awareness of a greater possibility started to get heavy with judgment and heavy with a point of view about how, you know, ease is not valuable. You have to suffer in order to have anything. Um, and what if that's not true? So that's the point of this whole show is, what if that's not true? And what if you can have ease? And what would get created in your life if you were actually willing to pay for ease? So what if ease came, moved from the bottom of your priority list up to the top? And if you were willing to spend money on ease, how much of an invitation to ease could you be? And then would you have more of it? Right? And then and, would having ease in your life actually contribute to your money flows? Right? Everything that is not allowing you to choose ease first before money and thereby stopping your money flows. Whereas if you would just choose ease first, you could actually increase your money flows. Everywhere you're doing that, everywhere you're stopping money from flowing into your life by protecting it, will you destroy it and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pump, all night, short, smooth, to be honest. Oh, that's so funny. I just saw a comment in the chat room that I haven't seen before that says, I have ease in many areas of my life except money, so my focus, at least for this year, is cleaning this up. That's hilarious. I didn't even see that until I just finished talking about money. So, yeah, so what would show up for you if you could invite more ease into your life? One of the tools in Access, or one of the ideas, or one of the concepts, is that money follows joy. And so how much more joyful are you when you have ease in your life? So, I just had a birthday party for my daughter this weekend, and for the first time, I did not stress about catering it instead of cooking. And so, for the last several years, usually what happens is my family contributes a dish. They're amazing, right? Like, I am surrounded by amazing cooks in my life. And so everybody's, my sister-in-laws, my mom, my aunt, my mother-in-law, they're all like, don't worry, we're all going to contribute and we will have an amazing feast. And don't buy anything, I'll bring it. Like, don't worry about it. Let's make this easy on you. Yeah, if this sense of it's easier if we all contribute. And so for the last couple of years, I've kind of been like, I don't know, never mind, I'll order this, I'll order pizza, but always had a sense of guilt behind it because I feel like maybe I'm not a good mom if I don't cook for the party, or like, that's what our family does. We contribute to each other, we help each other. And yes, it's true and it's awesome. And this time I just went, I am not cooking. No one is cooking. I'm catering it in. And I was very happy. I was actually very happy at the party. I actually enjoyed the party. I actually got to enjoy my daughter's birthday party because I did not have to stress about any food. And of course, some people did still contribute. My mom made an amazing lasagna. People brought desserts. It was great. But I did not actually stress about catering the meal. And it's not like I did it, but I was guilty. There was no thought. I was like, I am not. I am just catering it, and I am having ease for me. And that choice created something that I hadn't really experienced before, which is no stress during a child's birthday party. And then what did it create? What did it create in all of us, in the family, in the house, on that day, that I was in a different space, in a different energy? What did it create for my husband? What did it create for my other kids? I was willing to have ease. I let two of my kids sleep over at my mom's house the night before. She took them for the whole day. Was willing to just say yes when she offered. I was able to receive that ease. And it created a lot of ease for everybody, and a lot more joy, and a lot more happiness, and a lot more fun. So definitely don't choose ease, because then all your suffering might go away, and then what would you do? Okay, we're going to take a break. You're listening to Messy Adventures in Living on the Inspired Choices Network with myself, Petrina Fava. We're talking about paying for ease. When we come back, we are actually going to look at paying, I noticed. Sorry, I said I was going to break, and now I'm talking. So I know I noticed that every time I kept titling this show, the word "paying for ease," there was so much weird energy on the word "pay." So we're gonna talk about that when we get back. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Do you wait until all the traffic lights are green before you get in your car? Of course you don't. Are you waiting until you have everything perfect to begin living? Most of us have learned not to take any steps until we have all the information to make the right choice. What if the opposite is true? What if it's choice that creates awareness? Are you willing to make lots of messy choices so you can begin to see the possibilities that you didn't think existed? Listen for Messy Adventures in Living radio show with self-declared messy living expert Petrina Fava every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 Central, 9 Mountain, and 8 Pacific on the InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. How much more expansive would your life be if you were willing to get messy with your choices?
What if you really do change molecules by your interaction with them? What if the change you've been looking for is right before your eyes? What if the uncomfortableness that comes with difference could be fun? What if the closed-minded people of the world no longer determined our world? What if gratitude trumps judgment every time? What if your kindness healed the world? What if the earth is asking for your help? And what if you had the resources to give it? This is your invitation to step into something that Einstein, Marie Curie, Picasso, Da Vinci, Shakespeare, Aristotle all knew to be true. Hi, my name is Dane here. 13 years ago I started to truly ask questions. Actually, I started to be the question, and everything changed for me. What if there are no dumb questions, or any question too large? What if you being you are the gift and the change this world requires? Is now the time? For more questions to create a change in your world, sign up for a free video series at beingyouclass.com. My gift to you, beingyouclass.com.
You're listening to Messy Adventures in Living with Petrina Fava. To participate in today's show, please call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also ask questions or comment by email by sending to Petrina at petrinafava.com. Now, here's Petrina with more Messy Adventures.
Welcome back to Messy Adventures in Living. I'm your host, Petrina Fava. Today we are talking about paying for ease. Are you willing to be Are you willing to be paid for ease? Wow, what's that? That came out of my mouth. Are you willing to be paid for ease? Okay. And everything that doesn't allow that, well, you just aren't great at all. Right, wrong, good, bad, fuck, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Are you resisting paying to have ease in your life? Paying for things that will make your life easier. I grew up really not learning to value ease at all, that I should work hard and that I should be willing to suffer and that I shouldn't be so lazy because you have to spend money. So there's a bunch of words that are coming up around this topic that have a lot of energy for me. One of them is lazy and one of them is pay. So are you willing to pay for ease? So what does it mean? What comes up for you when you hear the word pay? And what comes up for you when you hear the word lazy? So for me, this word lazy has been pervading my life like you have no idea since I was a kid. And so the idea of paying for someone to clean my house or paying for someone to cook food for my party or paying for someone to do some renovations when I could just do it myself or paying somebody to do my taxes when I could just learn how to do it myself denoted laziness. Stop being so lazy. Do it yourself so that you can save some money. Why are you so lazy? If you have to pay for it, if you are willing to pay someone to do it, it means you're lazy. Why are you so lazy? Do it yourself. And all that energy and everything that brings up for anyone, everywhere you have been accused of being lazy because you like ease and joy and fun, well, you just aren't great at all. Right, wrong, good and bad, bottom buck, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Okay, so let's look at lazy actually. I went to etymology online and looked up some words. So etymology is the study of the origin of words, and I find it very fascinating because often it shows me how much words have changed over the years, the meaning of words, but more than meaning, it really gives me some insight into the energy of words. And sometimes I look at some words that have some funky energy for me, and I go and I look at them up, and I'm like, oh, no wonder there's such a weird energy on that word. When what I've noticed is that a lot of the words that we're talking about today actually have like opposite meaning or conflicting meanings. They have had conflicting meanings over the last few centuries, which is kind of funny because I feel like I wonder if that's why we have such weird energy on some words, because the meanings have changed almost in an opposite direction over the last several years. But anyways, okay, so lazy, averse to labor, action or effort. Averse to labor, action or effort, and also weak, feeble, tired. And then it actually started to mean not or bad. Decrepit, fragile, having an ailment. So, you don't have an ailment, so do it yourself. Like you are not decrepit, so do it yourself. That's this underlying energy of like, are you frail? Are you fragile? Are you lazy? So, yeah, interesting. And then also the word pay. So are you willing to pay for ease? What have you decided is the payment for ease? So, when I think of the word pay, when you think of when you pay someone to do labor, I feel like it's like, am I paying them for their suffering? So, for example, like in my mind, I have someone who comes to renovate my house, and they come and they work long hours, and it's physical labor, and I pay them. I feel like I'm paying them for their suffering. You came here and you suffered for, 12 hours a day for a week to do my renovation, so I am compensating you for your suffering, right? So is that what you've decided paying is? Are you compensating someone for some kind of suffering? And what does that mean when you say that you have to pay for ease? What have you decided you have to suffer in exchange for ease? Oh. What have you decided you have to suffer in exchange for ease? And everything that is, everywhere you bought that, everywhere you decided that, everywhere you suffered in exchange for ease in a previous lifetime maybe, will you like to destroy and uncreate all that and drop that crap? Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. Yeah, what have you decided is the payment for ease? Yeah, so ease. Okay, so what is ease exactly? What have you decided ease is? So sometimes we decide that something is something, and then we can't have anything beyond our definition. So what have you decided ease is that it actually is not? And what have you decided ease is not that it actually is? So ease in etymology is, let's look at some of the definitions of ease here. To help or assist, to relax one's efforts. And then, actually, from the 1800s, ease in slang was to content a woman sexually. Interesting. Ease as a noun, physical comfort, an undisturbed state of the body. Tranquility, peace of mind, comfort, pleasure, well-being, opportunity. That's it. That's what caught my eye. So ease as a noun from the 12th century was being used to describe opportunity, comfort, pleasure, well-being, opportunity. So how many opportunities, how many possibilities are you denying when you refuse to have ease? And everything that is, and everywhere you're doing that, would you please destroy and create it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyond. Yeah. Opportunity. So, in a figurative sense, opportunity, occasion, um, yeah. Oh, at rest, at peace, in comfort. So I found something, so this caught my eye as well, at peace, right? Ease meaning peace. So, and then there was something about paying that had peace in it as well. Okay, here. So ease at peace, okay? And then when I looked at the word pay as a verb, so here's what it said from the 12th century. To please, to pacify, to satisfy. Pay. Pay. To please, to pacify, to satisfy. To make peaceful. And then, in the same, right after it, from the 14th century, so 200 years later, pay had a different meaning, to suffer or to endure a punishment. So in 200 years, pay, to please, to pacify, to satisfy, which actually sounds exactly like ease, right? To make peaceful, this is pay, went from that to a different meaning, having a sense of to suffer, to endure a punishment. Like, no wonder there's so much weird energy on these words. They have changed so much. Like, just in a period of 200 years, it almost took on a completely opposite meaning. So here we have ease being described as comfort, peace. And then pay is to please, to pacify, to satisfy, to make peaceful. And yet we have this crazy, other notion of payment as suffering. So where have you decided that paying for ease means you're suffering because you have to pay money? Do you get? It's so twisted. So everywhere, all of this twisted up energy, everywhere this has all been twisted into a big pile of mess for you. Paying for ease and payment and having ease and being lazy and suffering and having an easy life, and everywhere that's been completely twisted into a ball of knots. Will you destroy and create it all? Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts. Swords, boys, and beyonds. Oh my goodness. What other points of view do we have about ease? So where else do we do this in our lives? Relationships, maybe, right? Have you decided that, love or relationships doesn't come without some kind of struggle? Marriage is not easy. Relationships are not easy. No great love ever came without struggle. What else? Parenting. For sure, parenting, right? Parenting. Everybody tells you parenting is not easy. And what have you decided is your payment if you had easy parenting? Oh, I came across wait a second. Let's say that again. What have you decided is your payment if you have an easy time being a parent? Okay. Whatever that is, everything that is, will you destroy and create it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, pop, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Does it mean you're a bad parent if you have ease with parenting? If you're not suffering for your children, does that make you a bad parent? Yeah. And everywhere you bought that bullshit, will you destroy and create it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, pop, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Because I don't know about you, but I would have been a hell of a lot happier if my mother was happier. Right? If my mom was always joyful and always excited about life and happy, how much happier would I have been? So what crap is that you have to suffer for your children? I am so not buying into that anymore. Oh my God. I know that when I am happier and when I have ease, my kids are happier. I had an amazing week this week because I was willing to have ease. I was willing to not suffer. I was willing to not do everything myself. I was willing to let some things go and some things drop so that I could have ease this weekend with this party. And we had such a sense of happiness and fun and joy between all of us. So this idea of suffering for your kids is just total crap. It is total crap. And I am not buying it anymore, and I invite you to the same. So I found this really hilarious quote by Bill Maher, and the comedian, and it goes like this: "Kids, they're not easy, but there has to be some penalty for having sex." It's like we are hilarious. We think that there is a penalty for everything enjoyable, right? Sex is one of them. Of course, there's always a penalty for having sex, right? And a lot of this stems from religion, but maybe not all of it. You know, kids are not easy, but there's got to be some penalty for having sex. Come on. Everything that is, everywhere we have decided that anything that is amazing in our lives has to come at a price. Well, we were destroyed and created all. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. So we believe that things have to come at a price, but then we're not willing to pay for ease. Like, it's so screwed up. It's hilarious. It is hilarious. Okay, so we are going to take another break. You're listening to Messy Adventures in Living. We're talking about paying for ease. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Do you wait until all the traffic lights are green before you get in your car? Of course you don't. Are you waiting until you have everything perfect to begin living? Most of us have learned not to take any steps until we have all the information to make the right choice. What if the opposite is true? What if it's choice that creates awareness? Are you willing to make lots of messy choices so you can begin to see the possibilities that you didn't think existed? Listen for Messy Adventures in Living radio show with self-declared messy living expert Petrina Fava every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 Central, 9 Mountain, and 8 Pacific on the InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. How much more expansive would your life be if you were willing to get messy with your choices?
What would you say if I told you that you could change your life in only 1 hour and all while lying down relaxing? Thousands of people all over the world have. What am I talking about? It's called Access Consciousness, the bars. The bars is an energetic body process that contains 32 different points on your head that when run assist you in releasing decisions about any area of your life that you have made solid and as a result cannot change. The bars is the first class in Access Consciousness, a dynamic set of tools and information designed to transform any area of your life. When you have a bars session, the worst that can happen is you feel like you had a fantastic massage. The best thing that can happen is your whole life could change. Go to accessconsciousness.com today to find a facilitator to schedule a private session or to find a bars class in your area. Are you willing to give yourself an hour to change your life?
You're listening to Messy Adventures in Living with Petrina Fava. To participate in today's show, please call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also ask questions or comment by email by sending to Petrina at petrinafava.com. Now, here's Petrina with more Messy Adventures.
Welcome back to Messy Adventures in Living. I'm your host, Petrina Fava. Thanks for being here. If you just happen to be jumping on in the last few minutes of the show, we have been talking about paying for ease. A little while ago, I really started to realize that I was unwilling to pay for things to be easy in my life. I have had this program that if I pay someone else to do something that I can do, it means I'm lazy. It means I don't value money. I'm throwing away my money because I am lazy. You know? Oh my God, I literally can feel that in my body. It's so gross, and I would love to let it go. So everything that is, everywhere I bought the idea that because I'm willing to pay somebody else to do something for me that I am perfectly capable of doing myself, it means that I am lazy. And everywhere I have resisted, everywhere you have resisted being lazy, when actually being lazy might actually create your life greater. Will you destroy it and create it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. What? Being lazy create your life greater? How is that possible? I don't know. I don't have the answers, but hey, all I know is that what you resist persists, and anything you resist is an enormous amount of closed doors in your life. So what if being lazy could make you money? And it's so funny because there's a whole bunch of comments about this in the chat room right now. What if you could be paid to be lazy? Being paid to be lazy. Oh my goodness, it is such a judgment. I'm just reading a comment here by Rhonda. I'm so clear how lazy is nothing but a judgment now. And baby, I look good being lazy. Oh my goodness. So yeah, how much have you resisted being lazy when there is a possibility? What is the possibility there? I recently heard a quote about, who is it that said, pay the laziest, like employ lazy people because they will they will figure out the fastest and easiest way to do something. And I was like, that is amazing. Who said that? It's such a great quote. You know, everywhere we have decided lazy is bad. Maybe I'm going to do a radio show all about being lazy. Everywhere we have decided being lazy is bad, when actually it's a capacity. What if it's a capacity to look for ease in your life and create something greater because you are willing to have ease instead of suffering? Everywhere you have not acknowledged your capacity for finding ease and your capacity for having ease and your willingness to receive ease. Everywhere that's never been acknowledged and in fact been labeled lazy or in fact been deemed a fault of yours when actually it is a capacity. And everywhere you've been refusing it, everywhere you've been judging it, and everywhere it's been stopping you from creating something greater in your life and in the lives of others, would you now destroy and uncreate it all and embrace it as a capacity? Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Oh my God, I love it. I know, it's so good. Oh my goodness. That feels good to finally get rid of all that lazy crap. Enough already. There's a tool in Access, a question that's like, that goes, what if that thing, my brain is not working. What if the thing that you judge most about yourself is actually your greatest capacity? So what if your wrongness is actually your strongness? What if your greatest wrongness is actually your strongness? And I have to be totally honest with you, the first time I heard this, that was my first thought. It was like, what, I'm lazy and that's my strongness? I actually asked Gary Douglas probably 4 or 5 times in many classes, Gary Douglas, by the way, is the founder of Access. How is it possible that this is a capacity? And of course, he never gives me an answer because Access is not about answers. It's about creating awareness, which is finally happening right here on Messy Adventures in Living radio show many years after I asked that question. But like, I always have been like, how is this a capacity? How is this a capacity? Because I'm willing to have ease. You know, so many people are unwilling to have ease. I like ease. And that doesn't mean that I'm not willing to work hard. Are you kidding me? I work hard. I will work hard. I will do whatever it takes to create something damn straight. And I like ease. And I think I have an awareness that ease creates greater, right? So what if it's not the same as liking things to be easy? Do you have an awareness that ease creates something greater? And so now with that, now that you know you have an awareness for ease, now are you willing to pay for ease? And everything that doesn't allow that will you destroy it and create it all. Oh, right, wrong, good, bad, POC, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. If you recognize that your ability to receive ease is an enormous capacity and an enormous gift, would you be willing to do anything to have it? Would you actually be willing to pay to have more and more ease in your life because you know it can create something greater? I am totally excited. I'm so glad I did this topic. I didn't even know what I was going to talk about when I started. But yeah, how much of your resistance to paying for ease has just been a huge, huge program, a huge implant in your life that you bought? A big implant that you bought as wrongness, when actually it's a capacity. And you know, we have to really look at the fact that when people seek our capacities, it's very common for people to try and squash them. And it might not be something that they're doing with their mind, with their brain. But sometimes our capacities show up in really freaking weird ways. And it's easy for others to just poo-poo them as wrongness. Okay, so we're running out of time. Thank you for joining us on Messy Adventures in Living. What can you create now that you're willing to pay for ease in your life? What can you contribute to the world? I am so happy that you joined me here today. See you next week. Hear you next week. Go out there and have an ease and joyful week. See you next week right here on the Inspired Choices Network. Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for playing.
Thanks for playing with us on Messy Adventures in Living. Petrina Fava will return next Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Mountain, and 8 a.m. Pacific on Inspired Choices Network. We'd love to have you join us again. Until next time, have fun creating your phenomenal life, mess and all.